Welcome back. Today's video is going to be all about the neutral palettes. So if you don't know, hey, my name's Adrika. I upload 3 times a week on this YouTube channel, so tune in on every Sunday, Tuesday, and Thursday if you want to see my new uploads. So today's video is going to be all about the neutrals because I realized that I have been doing a lot of color recently, and some of y'all just don't want to play with some color, so we're going to talk about my favorite neutral palettes but with a twist. So basically there's going to be 2 sections to this video: my favorite neutrals with just regular brown tones, and my favorite neutrals with a pop, with a twist, with something a little bit extra to them. I am going to be talking about eyeshadow palettes today, and a few of them I used on my eyes today, but I tried to make myself as neutral as possible. I got my little neutral lip, I got a neutral face, I got some neutral eyes. Just a very neutral day today. Of course, everything that I talk about in this video and whatever else is on my face will be listed in the description box down below, so definitely check it out if you want any of the links. Before I begin, please make sure to subscribe to this channel if you like anything that you see here. Like this video and comment down below what your favorite neutral eyeshadow palette is, and don't forget to hit the bell notifications so you won't miss any of my uploads. So if you want to see what my favorite neutral eyeshadow palettes are, then just keep on watching. So we're going to start off this portion of the video with my favorite regular toned neutral palettes. Now for a lot of these I did try to do swatches, but I ran out of makeup removers, so I just had to use a paper towel, and now my wrists are burning. Not my wrists, my hands are burning. Because I just had to use a regular paper towel to scrub off the eyeshadows. So keep in mind when you're looking at the swatches, they are not the best, but again, I don't think swatches speak to the quality of a product because some of these swatch terribly, but on the eyes they are amazing. So let's start with this little beauty right here, the Nubian by Juvia's. This is from Juvia's Place, which you can purchase now at Ulta and also online at their website. They used to be more of an indie brand, and now I love that they're transitioning into more mainstream stores. These are just a warm, neutral lover's dream. I think this is one of the palettes that really started off the trend too, because it is quite a bit old. It's a few years old now. Not this palette specifically, but the palette production itself. You know what I mean. So if you want to create anything from an everyday neutral eye to a warm bronzy eye to a dark smoky eye, this has got your back covered with all those looks that you want to do. There are really blendable pigmented shades, as are all of these. These swatch great. The shimmers can look a little bit foiled in the pan, and on the eye, these definitely don't need to be wet at all. There are a few satin shades in here if you don't want that foiled shimmer look, and these are just great. These will work on so many different skin tones because there is a good range of depth. This is just an essential everyday eyeshadow palette. The packaging is really compact as well. It's quite sturdy. It's that nice cardboard. The design on the front is stunning, so is the design on the inside. Both of them are gorgeous. I love this bright green shade as well. Now let's move on to something I have on my eyes right now. This is the e.l.f. Mad for Matte palette. This is an OG favorite of mine. It's been years that I've been using this palette. This is really accessible and at the drugstore. It's only $10 for 10 shades, and it is gorgeous. Now this is one of those palettes that swatch absolutely terrible. It looks a little dry, a little chalky, not as pigmented, but this is all of the matte shades that I have on my eye today. They apply like a dream, and if you are more into that neutral tone, leaning towards more cool, you're not really loving the warm shades, or it doesn't work on your skin tone or anything like that, this is the palette to go to. I know they have a matte for matte 2, but this is just the regular 1 version. So the matte for matte 2 is more warmer neutral tones. So these are the matte shades I have in my eye today, and you can see they're blended out, they're gorgeous, they're pigmented. They are a dream to work with. This is also a very beginner friendly palette, as it is not like a subculture where it's just overtly pigmented, kind of hard to blend. This is just really easy to blend, really easy to build up the color, perfect for everyday use. And now let's move on to an OG that I have not talked about on this channel for a bit. This is the J-Cat Sunset Boulevard 24 eyeshadow palette. Now, she's a little busted up. The packaging is not the greatest, but the formula is absolutely fantabulous. They definitely put all of the money towards the formula and not so much the packaging, which can be detrimental as mine has completely torn apart. But some tape will do the trick for me. This is only like $13 or something for this many shades, so I'm not complaining too much. The shimmers on this are really the star of the show. They are extremely, extremely foiled. Definitely pick up a little bit on your brush. They are easy to pick up on a brush. They can be applied with a finger for even more intensity. And a lot of the shimmers here are actually leaning more towards the neutral tones rather than really warm. The mattes, of course, are quite warm in this palette, but the shimmers actually are not too like goldy or orangey toned. Of course, it does have a little bit of a cranberry pop, but that's so minuscule that it's like not even worth really mentioning unless you want that like slight hint of something. But the other palettes I'm going to show you have a lot more to them. Can be a lot of kick up with this palette. The Juvia's Place and the e.l.f. don't have any kick up, but this palette can be a little bit dusty, but they blend beautifully. They're very pigmented and they pack a really big punch on the eye. This shimmer is the one I am wearing on my eyes today. Just this. I didn't wet it. I only picked up a little bit on a brush and I applied it to the eye and it looks gorgeous. So let's now move on to the neutral palettes with a pop or a twist to them. Now what I mean by that is that it has a base of basically neutral, browny, maybe warm tone shades, but it just has a little bit of color just splashed in there for all of you that love to have your regular neutral everyday shades, but you just want to add just a little bit of something so you can maybe switch it up someday, do a completely different eye, and just play with a little bit more color without going for like a rainbow palette. So the first one I have to talk about is my baby now. She is so gorgeous. The ColourPop and Kathleen Lights collaboration, the Dream Street palette. This is just so gorgeous and versatile. I did a completely supernatural look the other day using this palette. That look will be linked in the eye above and in the description box down below, so check it out. I use basically this satin shade, has a noticeable dip in it. There's a dent because I love this shade. This is one of my favorite eyeshadows of all time from any palette. It is so gorgeous. The shimmers on this are not as foiled metallic-y. They can be if you spritz them with a little bit of water, but they are definitely a lot less punchy than the other shimmers in the other palettes I just talked about. The mattes on this are so blendable. They are very user-friendly, not too pigmented. Even the blues are gorgeous, not too much all at once. And this is just the perfect palette that I would give to someone who wants to play with a little bit of color but is just starting out. So she's very compact in size as well. I love taking this for travel. This is just one of my favorite eyeshadow palettes really of all time. Now this palette just recently launched, but this is the Norvina palette by Anastasia Beverly Hills. I'll have my full review linked in the eye above and in the description box down below, because it was a long, lengthy review. I did 2 looks, I did full swatches, so in this video I will not be swatching this palette. But this really is just a neutral palette with a little bit of purple splashed in. And it's very minuscule amounts, like this shade, this shade, this shade, yeah, are like the only pops in this palette. So this is mostly a neutral palette with that pop of color that I absolutely love. So this one has a splash of purple, the last one had a splash of blue, and she's gorgeous. I love the pinky purpley tones in here. The shimmers are next level foiled. The mattes are of course very blendable, very true to ABH quality, very smooth, and of course I love this periwinkle shade. It kind of matches my shirt. I'm digging it. Okay, on camera my shirt is a little bit more pink, and it is, but I love this. I love this. So the last palette I have to talk about is the Lorac Desert Sunset Unzipped palette. So this is, of course, another warm neutral palette. The Norvina palette is a little bit more on the cool tone side, where of course the ColourPop is very warm, very loud with that kind of more punchy red shade. But this palette is of course back to neutral warm, and it has that little bit of purple, a little bit of these cranberry tones that just add a little bit more something to a neutral palette. The shades on here do not need to be wet, more so than metallic. They are a little bit more satiny. There aren't giant chunks of like shimmer or something in there. It is much smoother of a shimmer formula. The mattes in this palette are also gorgeous. They blend out beautifully. There are only 3 mattes, which I would have preferred just a little bit more variety or a better shimmer to matte ratio, but it is still a gorgeous palette, and all of these apply so beautifully on so many skin tones as well. So that wraps up my video, guys, on my favorite neutral palettes and my favorite neutral palettes with a twist. Everything I talked about will be listed in the description box down below, and of course everything that is on my face will also be linked down below. I do upload every Sunday, Tuesday, and Thursday, so if you do want to see more content from me, definitely tune in on those days. If you liked anything that you saw here, please subscribe if you haven't already. We are so close to 200 subscribers, and it would really mean the world to me if you would subscribe. And don't forget to like and comment down below what your favorite neutral palette is, just so I can have a little bit more variety on my channel, because going through and decluttering everything, it really made me realize how many neutrals I actually don't have. And don't forget to hit the bell notifications so you won't miss any of my uploads. We smell like the outside.
I met like so many of our neighbors and FedEx people.
Why?
I'm really confused.
Let me like finish my last sentence. Give me a second. There was like 1 sentence left. I hope you enjoyed this video, and thanks so much for watching. Bye.